Welcome to our Wednesdays Walk in the Word. We walk in the Word on Wednesdays. That's right. Thank you. Welcome to the Cyber Sanctuary Bible Study Prayer Room. Thank you for joining us at this noonday hour. Let me get right into what I want to share with you today in the interest of your time. Let me also say right off, I am appreciative. Thank you so much for your prayers and for your support. Question: have you ever been sick and tired? Chances are you probably have, particularly this stretch that we've been going through. And for those who really, as I did myself, thought that perhaps we would have had great relief by now, and yet the threat of even new variants on the horizon, some problems, some more tweaking necessary with some of the vaccines, etc. It's a lot, but I want to encourage you. There is one thing that we can hang our hopes, place our trust, that is upon our God. There is no shadow of turning with the holy, awesome, eternal God. So since you've been sick and tired, and since I've been sick and tired, I want to talk to you just for a brief moment from this thematic thrust. When life seems to be overwhelming, what do? In other words, tired of being sick and tired. I want to share from Psalms. Last week we were in Psalm 4. Call your attention now to Psalm 6. Encourage you to read verses 1 through 10 for yourself. I'm going to begin with just a few verses of this psalm as we put our first aim on 1 through 4. This is how it reads in the Message translation. David seeks to please God and hear him plead, please God. No more yelling, no more trips to the woodshed. I don't know where they got that word from. I guess here Eugene Peterson is reflecting on what used to happen, at least in East Texas, when you had one coming. Some of you have been around long enough. You're so young, you know exactly what I mean. So he cries out, please God, no more yelling, no more trips to the woodshed. Treat me nice for a change. I'm so starved for affection. Can't you see I'm black and blue, beat up badly in bones and soul? God, how long will it take for you to let up? Break in, God, and break up this fight. If you love me at all, get me out of here. Now, one of the interesting things that I find in the what we call Hebrew hymnal, the book of Psalms in particular, is that we get a chance to see a transparent, vulnerable, real people. So often in our worship experiences, in the time in which we live, I think we've done a great job of putting on certain airs, certain facades, certain kind of, just not being real about a thing. And we have all of these terms, and we say it with such flair. And yet, you and I both know, you don't always feel on top of the mountain. I'm an optimist, but I'm not always optimally optimistic. You don't feel the same way all the time. Here, the Bible shows us a people in quest, a people in sojourn, traveling, moving with God, ones who trust God. And at the same time, if they're mad and hot, upset and angry, they act just like people I know, my own people. They will let that be known also. Here's the point. Because we've got enough good sense to know that God, the giver of the full range of our emotions, our God is not so fragile that when we are dealing with just being real, you ain't gonna scare God. God is not going to abandon us. Sometimes, however, the chastisements, the rod of God is real. Sometimes, oh my, how does it hurt? And you feel it. We used to say, you feel me? It can cause you to question, hold up, how much more of this can I take? What is going on? Here the psalmist, in the first movement of this particular psalm, verses 1 through 4 in particular, there is the plea of sorrow. Do you know what it feels like? Don't you remember when the special person told you that they would accompany you to your prom, only for you to find out they had made that promise to 4 or 5 others, and they were then going to make their selection based on who had the most or whatever they had, or the favor that they would find, and there would be at least 3, if not 4 others totally feeling abandoned and rejected. Oh, you don't know sorrow? You don't know sorrow when they tell you in 30 days you should be getting this promotion and it should add X amount to your paycheck, only for you to find out 10 days later, 20 days to the day of celebrated glee and festive joy, when you'd have already gone and bought the new car. Now they give you the message that not only will you be getting a promotion, the entire industry has collapsed, bottom has fallen out, and you will have to find another place of employ. All of us know something about having to traverse the jagged, twisting trails of sorrow, just trying to cope, trying to stay, if you will, above board. Here, the psalmist sees it as that God is literally chastising him. In grandma's language, clothes I bought you ain't done nothing. Strip, drop them. I want nothing but naked meat. Sometimes it seems like the chastening rod of the holy eternal God is anything except your being able to say, God favors me. Instead of feeling favored, you feel forsaken. Notice also, if you will, by the time you get to verse 5, there is a sense of silence. Let me read it. I'm no good to you dead. That's silence. I can't sing in a choir if I'm buried in a tomb. That's silent. Lips may be moving, but either God ain't hearing or no sound is coming out, or God has turned a deaf ear. God is not touched with the tender feelings, and there is little sympathy for me to find from the sovereign. That's how, if we're honest, we know something about it. And we say words like, I'm sick of this, and I'm sick of that. And oh, by the way, I don't want to upset you, but I'm sick of, you know. But you can be sick and tired of being sick and tired. You want the night to end, the morning to dawn, for the situation to be over. While you want it and I want it, the worst thing we can do is to dig ourselves into the hole deeper through disobedience or through thinking that we can harness or harass God, hoodwink God into helping us if we aren't following through with what God has informed and instructed that we do in the first place. Verse 6, I am tired of all of this. So tired. In fact, my bed, my Sealy Posturepedic, my sleep number, my bed has been floating 40 days and 40 nights. Throwback, of course, on the Great Flood. Basically saying that it's happened, it's floating, the waters have risen so high, but the source of the waters didn't fall from the skies. It's the tears that have fallen from my eyes. On the flood of my tears, my mattress is soaked, soggy with tears. This is, of course, the Message translation of Psalm 6. Reading in particular verse 6. Verse 7, the sockets of my eyes are black holes. Nearly blind, I squint and grope. I've cried so much, bags are bulging. I wanted this. You had promised this, and yet it seems like my hope is on holiday because it's taken yet too long to answer. Look, are you ashamed to be the kind of human being that will dare stand in the presence of God and say, search me, O God. You know me, in and out, my shortcomings. This is how I feel. Deliver me. Because the truth of the matter is, if you're not honest enough to admit, and sometimes the way we handle our situation, our circumstances, and even the way we handle our faith, we can cause greater harm. We need to deliver ourselves from doing ourselves in. Verse 8, get out of here, you devil's crew. At last, God, I cried, but God has heard my tears, and I'm not going to be defeated by listening to the delight of the satanic. I'm not going to subdue myself and cause further injury and soreness to my soul because I am seduced into the stinking thinking his origin is from the devil himself. No. I'm sick and tired of being tired, but triumph comes when I talk to God in prayer, trust and believe. That's why we've been doing all of this praying. Listen to verse 9, and I'll bid you a good day. My requests have all been great. What is sweeter than your own testimony when you know it for yourself that your God is a prayer answering God? My requests have all been granted. My prayers are answered. And then here is the shout for some of us, because we love it when whatever we've been getting is reversed, and now those who have been chasing us have now been chased. Sort of like how you kind of felt when your big brother stepped in at the last minute and told the little person who you thought was so large it was doing you in, and there was no way out, and in steps your older brother or a protector to deal with the battle for you, so you don't have to. Till you step aside, I got this. I sure am grateful that we have a God. It may look rough. The outlook might be bleak. It might seem like we're getting ready to handle everything or hand it over. There's nothing we got going, and just in due time, God steps in. Verse 10 says, cowards, my enemies, disappear. And in disgrace, they turn tail and run. All of your troubles, all of your trials, all of your tribulation, you do not have to throw in the towel, wave the white flag of surrender. Yes, you may be tired, sick and tired of being sick and tired. When life is overwhelming, what then can I do? I can have a talk with the Lord, who promised me there is no test, no trial, no temptation, but such as common. Yes, it would overwhelm if I did not have a God who will step in and ensure that I am strengthened, not to deny, not to pretend that it does not exist, not to hide my head in the sand, but strengthen me that I might, oh my God, be able. Don't look now, but when you think about this, look in the mirror and tell yourself, God is in me. Greater is he that is in me. And I, by God's strengthening of me, I deal with it. Keep on dealing with it. And in due time, God is faithful, who will, with the test, make a way of escape. Sorrow, if you're there, admit it. If you're so inundated you can't say a word, admit that. But for God's sake, also admit that the power of your supplication, God is so faithful, it is irresistible for the Lord to resist when you pray from the position of a heart of love and faith that is pure. The power of the Lord will see you through your enemies, your tests, your trials, your temptations. They will be exposed for the cowards they are. And the scripture says in that 10th verse of this psalm, disgraced, says the Message translation, disgraced, they will turn tail and run. That's the Message translation. Let me look as I close the King James translation as to what is said as well. Just a moment. Let me get it for you. Let all mine enemies be ashamed and sore vexed. Let them return and be ashamed suddenly. Quicker than right now, sooner than at once. Your God will turn that which appears to be insurmountable test and trial into that which will give you victory. As you stand, as we labor together, as we wage war through these hard times, as we wait on the Lord, be of good cheer. Wait, I say, upon the Lord.